Hello, hello. How are you guys doing this week? I am here. I'm so happy to join you guys on this very rainy kind of day in South Alabama. It's pretty rainy. So the light's not good. So I've got all the light on in here, and that's just the way it has to be today. So last week I was sick. I apologize for not being with you guys. And then the week before I was in Cincinnati. So it's been like 3 weeks since I've been here. And I'm happy to be back. Hello, Dawn Garrett. I'm glad you've got some sunshine there and it's not snowing. Hey, Amy. Oh, you're doing laundry. I wish you could come and do ours. Actually, I think ours is pretty much all caught up. Maybe there's some in the dryer. So not too bad. Not too bad. So we're working on our planning series right now. A couple of weeks ago when we were last here, we talked about vision and how it is an atmosphere in your home. And this week we're back and we're going to be talking about goals because we're leading up to our homeschool planning series. Hello, Wendy McKenzie. How are you? Raining there too. Yeah. It went through pretty fast though. So when it came on through and it came through pretty quickly. So it should move through pretty quickly for you guys too. I don't think there's anything behind it. Wendy and I have the same weather. I just get it first before she does. So I am Pam Barnhill, and I am a homeschooling mom of 3, and I have 3 homeschooling podcasts. I have the Homeschool Snapshots podcast, which is interviews with homeschoolers about what their homeschool is like. I have the Homeschool Solution Show, which is an audio blog. Speaking of doing laundry, it's fabulous for folding a load of laundry. And then I have the Your Morning Basket podcast, which is all about morning time in your homeschool day. So we have all 3 of those. And right now, we're talking about planning because this is the time where everybody gets itching to plan. And it's so funny because we hear this a lot. It's so much more fun to start planning next year than it is to finish this year. But you can finish strong, guys. I know you can do that. I am excited because our co-op is about to end. So I feel like that gives me another little month where we can like chug along and focus on some skills stuff and really finish up really strong. So we're looking to go through the end of probably the 3rd week of May because we're traveling the 4th week of May. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit about goals. Like I said, the last time I was on here, we talked about vision and we talked about how vision is not about the future. So often we get this idea that if we're making a vision, we're looking far into the future and we're coming up with ideas about what we want our kids to be like in the future. And that's really not what vision is about because we don't have a lot of control over that. But the vision we create as part of our homeschool plan is more about what we want our homeschools to look like in the day-to-day in our home. So vision is really a lot about atmosphere. So what about goals? Let's think about goals for a second. And one of the things that we really try to get everyone to focus on when they're making goals for their homeschool is that they're making goals that are about behavior and not so much about outcomes. So for example, don't say, my child is going to have their multiplication tables memorized by the end of next year. Because when it comes right down to it, you really don't have a whole lot of control over that. You cannot force your child to memorize the multiplication tables, but you can set a goal for yourself that you're going to practice the multiplication tables 15 minutes a day for, every day. And maybe that's a little too long. Maybe it should be closer to 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day every day during the school year. And if you do that, there is a very good chance that your child is going to meet the goal of having those memorized. But you're not setting yourself up for failure because you're not setting yourself up to do something that you have no control over. But I found another great quote. I was reading Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. I was doing a little mama business reading, and I found this wonderful quote about goals. And so I want to share it with you because I thought it was really great. He says, a goal is not just about what you accomplish. It is about what you become. Goals are about growing. A good goal causes us to grow and mature. That's because every goal is about the journey as much as, even more than, the destination. And this really made me think of a post that Misty Winkler wrote a couple of years ago. It may not have even been that long, but it was within the past couple of years. And Dawn's going to drop the link for you. Surprise, Dawn. But about character education. And so we think about, we have to get something to teach our children character. Maybe we get some kind of Bible curriculum, or maybe we get, something that teaches them different virtues, or something where we read all of these stories related to character. And that's all well and good to do that. I'm not going to say don't do that, because I think the more examples that you can give your child, there's the Children's Book of Virtues by William Bennett. That's another example of kind of character education. And the more examples and the more stories we can give our kids about heroes and good virtues and things like that is not necessarily a bad thing. But I think the true work of character development in your homeschool comes from doing the work of homeschooling. And that's for mom and for kids. The best character building program is probably your math curriculum, and doing it even when you don't feel like doing it. And I'm talking about not just mom here, I'm talking about the kids, though we could probably have this conversation about mom as well. But, for the child who balks and says, I don't want to do math, I don't want to finish writing, and Colleen Kessler says she has her non-negotiables. These are the things where it doesn't matter if you want to finish or what, you have to do it. These are the things that are building character in our kids. And so these are the kinds of things, that's what the goals are growing quote made me think of, was that kind of character education right there. Every goal is about the journey as much as, even more than, the destination. So this is something that I'm going to keep in mind as I'm writing my goals for my kids this year. And sometimes it's hard. So for example, I've got my youngest guy, and two of the goals I know that are going on his list this year. One is that he be able to complete his math lesson without me sitting next to him. I mean, he's 8.5. He's going to be 9 in October. And so honestly, the kid should be able to go in there, pull out his math book, open it up, and most days, if not, not every day, when he's learning a new concept, he needs me there with him. But when he's doing a review page, he should be able to open up the math book, pull out his pencil, work through the problems, circle the ones that are hard, or come and find me for help when he has a difficulty. He's getting to that age where he should be able to do that. And if I'm remembering back, I think my older two were doing that by that age. And so this is something, and it's not going to happen August 1st. It's going to need to come around a little and happen a little bit later in the year, but we're going to work towards that. I haven't figured out how we're going to get there yet, but we're going to work towards it. And whining as well. Oh my gosh, this kid is a master whiner. So I've got to figure out, getting him to stop before he whines and think about not whining. And it's so hard because, that's like asking me to stop before I yell at him and not yell at him. And it's really hard to do. You have to be conscious enough of what you're about to do. And it's hard even for adults. So sometimes how to get there is the problem. But I know that making us better people is part of the goal writing process that we want to develop. And Amy, character, yes. Learning to be patient, gracious, and peacemakers. So hard. Putting the books and papers back on the shelf. You need an EHAP time. Everything has its place. And that's just when you have to build that habit into them by having that time, that set time every single day where you do that. A lot of times, I think the really sad thing is in teaching them to do something, we have to teach ourselves to do the other task, like the other side of the coin. Like if we're going to teach them to put everything away, then we have to train ourselves to do the other side of the coin, which is having that set time that we remember each day, and then inspecting what you expect is another Misty Winkler thing. So, we think it's going to be great because we can just we're going to set this goal for our kids and we're going to have them do it. But oftentimes in setting a goal for our kids and making sure they do it, there's 3 things we have to do on the other side. So we're adding more work for ourselves, but in the long run, they're going to be the ones who benefit greatly from it. And eventually we will too. So, all right, goals are for growing. That is what we're talking about today. And hopefully this just gives you a little bit of, I know, I wish just setting the goal would magically affect the change, but sadly it does not. So that goes back to being committed to the goal. Was this a Charlotte Mason thing, Dawn, where it's you don't put anything out there that you're not going to follow through on? I mean, seriously, if there's no sense in even putting this expectation out there if it's not something that you are not committed to following through on. So, don't ask them to clean up their room if you're not going to make sure that it's happened. Because if not, then you're just eroding trust. You've got to get up and make sure it happens. Sadly. Gosh, being a parent's so hard. All right. We will be back next week, and I'm not sure what we're talking about. Something to do with homeschool planning. And I think resources, maybe, Dawn. Resources or course of study, I think, is where we're going next. Now that we got the hard work of vision and goals kind of out of the way. And we're going to be talking to you about that. But we'll be back next Thursday afternoon at 2:30 Central Time. And until then, you guys just have an awesome, awesome week. And we'll see you then.